Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. The face-off between the Congress and the BJP over Kashmir once again took centre stage today after Law Minister Kiren Rijiju wrote exclusively for News18.com on the 75th anniversary of Kashmir accession. The Law Minister minced no words, and in the article titled 75th Anniversary of 5 Nehruvian Blunders on Kashmir, held India's first Prime Minister responsible for the Kashmir issue and accused him of giving priority to personal agendas and ambitions over national interest. Rijiju blamed Nehru for taking the Kashmir issue to United Nations, remember, under Article 35, which gave Kashmir a status of a disputed territory. The minister also took on Nehru for creating the so-called special case for Jammu and Kashmir for Article 370 without any justification, which eventually led to the institutionalization of separatism mindset in the valley. Of course, before that came the dilly-dallying as accused of the accession of Kashmir to India. Congress has come out all guns blazing at the Law Minister, accusing him of distorting facts. The question today is simple. Was Jawaharlal Nehru responsible for the mess in Jammu and Kashmir, something that is hurting India even till today? We will take that to our guests in just a bit, but first let me break down exactly what the Law Minister wrote that has led to such an uproar. Like I said, 5 blunders, Nehruvian blunders that he's talking about. The first one, popular approval bogey, invented by Nehru for Kashmir's accession to India. Maharaja Hari Singh was actually pleading with the Indian leadership at that time, but Nehru, as Law Minister claims, wanted to fulfill his own personal agenda. The Maharaja wanted to accede as early as July itself, but the decision was deferred to by Nehru. He felt that it was best, quote, not to rush into. The Law Minister asks why. Second Nehruvian blunder, the eventual accession of Kashmir was declared provisional. Provisional accession led to the belief that it was open to debate. This opened up the door that seeded 7 decades of separatist mindset. All the instruments of accession, mind you, were the same for all princely states, including Jammu and Kashmir. Then why was Kashmir made a special and provisional case? India should have ideally leapt onto the opportunity of Kashmir wanting to come to India. And actually only the ruler of a princely state had the decision to make. There was no concept of popular approval. The third Nehruvian blunder, approaching UN under Article 35 rather than Article 51. The Maharaja signed an instrument of accession with India, but Nehru gave the locus standi to Pakistan in this so-called dispute. He accepted Kashmir as a dispute territory between India and Pakistan and also internationalized it. This is something we talk about till today. Remember, those UN resolutions on Kashmir are haunting us till today, when they shouldn't have in the first place. The fourth Nehruvian blunder, the myth that was perpetrated that the UN mandated plebiscite was being stopped by India. The truth couldn't be further from that. It was Pakistan that was refusing to withdraw its troops, remember, from Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, which was the second condition to the plebiscite. So the talk of plebiscite was infructuous, but the sword of the plebiscite continues to hang on India despite Nehru himself opening up that door. The fifth Nehruvian blunder, the creation and perpetuation of Article 370, Article 306A in the interim draft of the Constitution then. Like the Law Minister argues, and of course he's quoting many sources and historical facts and data, there is no justification for such an article as, quote, special case. It existed only, Kiren Rijiju's writes, in Nehru's mind. Nehru had his way, Article 370 came into existence, and the institutionalizing of separatist mindset was done with this, something that India has been facing for the last 75 years. Meanwhile, speaking during the Shaurya Divas in Budgam today to commemorate the Indian Army's successes made after the landing of soldiers in Jammu and Kashmir on October 27, 1947, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh took on Pakistan for carrying out atrocities on Pakistan-occupied Kashmir residents. He blamed Pakistan for inhuman incidents in the region and warned that Pakistan will have to pay a price for these cruelties. He said India stands with POK residents, empathizes with them, and shares their grief. And finally, and possibly most importantly, he said India's goal of all-round development in Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh will be achieved after recapturing Gilgit and Baltistan. Big statement by the government, quite on the lines of Home Minister Amit Shah earlier, who had said in Parliament, remember, that we will die for Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and bring it back. So the question, as I said, is quite simple. A full panel of guests are joining us. Did Nehru's blunders cost us the Kashmir issue, the Kashmir problem? Did it create it? And was it ultimately behind Pakistan's meddling in Jammu and Kashmir? First up, listen into what both sides are saying.
इतिहास हम अपने हाथों से हम बदल नहीं सकते हैं। इतिहास तो जो है उस इतिहास को सिर्फ लोगों के सामने में रखना था। और मैं मानता हूं कि जो 75 साल पहले पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू जी ने जो गलतियां की उसको मोदी जी ने ठीक किया है। 5 ब्लंडर ऐसा है जिसका कीमत आज भी चुका रहे।
Kiran Rijiju, unfortunately, is maybe one of the bright students of WhatsApp nursery, but we'll send him some history books. He should also consult some people who understand the history of Kashmir, and we can send him some names and numbers, and then come and have a debate with us.
Frankly, a lot of these issues have been debated over the last few years, especially with the BJP coming into power, the fact that Article 370 was revoked and abrogated. All of these issues have been coming to light, but this is as hard-hitting a criticism of Nehruvian blunders, quote-unquote, that a sitting minister has made in a long time, and you can read that exclusively on News18.com. I want to broaden this up with our guest joining us now. Syed Zafar Islam of the BJP is joining us, Deepika Pushkar Nath from the Congress Party. I'll also be joined by Sushil Pandit, activist and Kashmiri Pandit, Majid Haidri, senior journalist based in Jammu and Kashmir, and Professor Hariom, who's a researcher and historian. Before I go to our political panelists, I want to begin with the expert on the show. Professor Hariom, I'm coming to you first up. You know, just encapsulate everything that Kiran Rijiju is talking about in his exclusive piece on News18.com, talking about the 5 major, massive Nehruvian blunders. The Congress is, of course, coming out and saying that this is a distortion of facts coming out of WhatsApp University, etc. But remember, the minister has quoted primarily Jawaharlal Nehru's own speech, right? And in his own speech, he talks about how as early as July 1947, Maharaja Hari Singh had opened up the discussion and wanted to accede to India. There were no conditions that Kashmir was putting. Or where did these conditions come from? And why did we finally agree to it only when the Pakistani invaders were a few kilometers away from Srinagar?
Should I reply?
Yes, Professor Hariom,
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
I must first congratulate Mr. Law Minister, who, without mincing words, set the record straight. You know, what he said is based on what is on the record. The problem is the Congress, Nehru, they never considered Jammu and Kashmir an integral part of India like other states of the country. I can give you many examples. For example, under the Independence Act of 1947, Maharaja alone had the authority to decide the fate of the state. But Nehru insisted that unless and until Sheikh Abdullah of National Conference, he says, okay, I will not take a decision. So he made him a party despite the fact that he had no look standard in the matter. Number one. Number two, Nehru and company, they never considered the people of Kashmir as Indians. They considered them a race apart. That was the reason that in October 1949, he introduced 306A, you call 370, and it was adopted in no time, despite the fact that a Muslim member of the Constituent Assembly, Mr. Mohani, he warned that grant of special status to Kashmir on the score of religion would enable it to assume independence afterwards. So I can give you many examples. And then Article 35A. I have the information that it was introduced by Nehru at the behest of Pakistan on 14th May 1954, retrospectively, with effect from 14 May 1944, so that all the non-Kashmiris were considered persona non grata in J&K. So,
yeah, in fact, all the refugees, and majority of them were Hindus or non-Kashmiris who came from Pakistan into Kashmir post-independence. They've till today, till recently, till Article 370 was abrogated, were not given the status of Kashmiris.
Yeah. No, they were called foreigners, aliens. And Kashmiris would say that their stay in Jammu and Kashmir would lead to the change in Kashmiri demography. They live in Jammu and they say their stay in Jammu would change the demography of Kashmir. But I would want to say one thing. Say only recently, Mr. Chidambaram, he was then Home Minister of the country. I'm talking of October 2014, 24, when Manmohan Singh took over. He said, Kashmir has a unique history, it has a unique problem, it has a unique geography, and it needs a unique solution. And he further said, solutions which are applicable to other states of the country cannot be replicated in Jammu and Kashmir. So this was the attitude of the Congress, of the government of India towards Jammu and Kashmir. People say Kashmir problem. I say no, it's not Kashmir problem. It is either problem in Kashmir or problem in Delhi, because those who managed the affairs of the state, they only bungled again and again, telling the world, telling the Kashmiris that they do not consider them as an integral part of the country.
Exactly. But Professor, you made a very important statement. You said that Article 35A was done at the behest of Pakistan. Now, that's the broader question I'm looking at today. Why would Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of the country, someone who hails, whose lineage is from Jammu and Kashmir, do anything to hurt India's chances in Kashmir? Because there's also an allegation that actually it was the British pressure too. British also wanted to continue to keep the Kashmir issue hanging. They didn't want Kashmir to come to India without any ifs and buts. So it is argued that both under the British pressure and, as you are alleging, under Pakistan pressure, Nehru did what he did. But why would he do so? That's the question that comes to everybody's mind.
Nehru was under the baneful influence of Lord Mountbatten. And Lord Mountbatten was of the firm opinion that Jammu and Kashmir, it must go to Pakistan. So that was the issue. So Nehru, he in fact allowed Lord Mountbatten to reign supreme.
Yeah.
He would go to Pakistan, Lahore, and promise plebiscite. How could he? India became independent on August 15, 1947, and he continued to be the Governor General of India.
Yes.
Even the Chief of Army Staff was a Briton. So what kind of independence India achieved? My point is, Nehru, he only acted as per the advice given to him by Lord Mountbatten and other anti-India forces.
Yeah. Can I bring in Congress Representative Deepika here? You know, you've heard what Professor Hariom is saying. A lot of this is mentioned in the Law Minister's article on News18.com. And one other charge that hasn't been mentioned about, I want to quote it. When Kiren Rijiju says there was no requirement to seek popular approval of the people of princely states as per the Indian Independence Act, that's a fact. All that matters was the willingness of the ruler to join the Indian Union, and that's exactly what all other princely states also did. Now, the charge against Jawaharlal Nehru is that it was his personal disagreement, personal dislike and animosity against Maharaja Hari Singh that made him more close or wanted to give Sheikh Abdullah some locus standi or dominance in Kashmir. Until he could achieve that, he delayed the accession of Kashmir without any ifs and buts to India. How do you respond to all of these, charges that are coming in against Jawaharlal Nehru and the legacy that he left behind of 75 years of trouble in the valley?
Well, thank you so much. I'm really thankful that you let me in today and you allowed me to speak on this very serious issues. I heard the gentleman professor speaking, leveling a lot of allegations on Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. And then I read, and I only heard you reading the article that Mr. Rijiju has written. Now, if you understand, these allegations are very serious in nature. Please understand one thing, which is very deep, that these allegations are very serious in nature. Everyone coming in, Professor Hariom, he leveled a lot of allegations. Then our law minister also leveling a lot of allegations. Now, my only point before all these gentlemen is, what is your source? Now, I want to make a statement here publicly. Let all these gentlemen be put to strict proof to prove all these allegations that they are leveling against Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. I have tweeted today. I have said, let our law minister, Mr. Kiren Rijiju, organize a conference on national level. Discuss all these things. Discuss instrument of accession, and then make the report public.
Okay.
And let him have the guts Let
But,
people
ma'am,
decide it.
Deepika ji,
See,
writing is also
article
a
is-
means of
No, no, one
initiating
second,
a
one
debate,
second.
right?
No,
The law minister
no,
has
no, no,
written
one
his
second.
piece. If there is a
No, no, one
disagreement, the
second.
Congress should come out and rebut it.
Let me speak. If you are allowing me to speak, let me speak. This is very serious.
Yes.
It is a national TV and you represent people as a whole. You cannot say anything which is irrelevant. Mr. Professor Hari Om and other panelists, if they are alleging the Nehruji of doing blunders and what you call 5 blunders, let them put to strict proof to prove all
Okay,
these
all
things.
right. Since you
Above
talk
all,
about
would
proof,
say-
I want to move on. I think I got your point, but I want to talk about the proof
one
that you're
second.
asking for.
One second.
Yes,
one
Deepika ji,
second,
please
madam,
finish
please.
quickly. I want to get
one
to the
second,
proof
madam.
that you're talking about.
No, this is something very serious.
Yes,
this is
ma'am.
something very serious, right? You are maligning someone's image. You are accusing him of what not, right? Now, please let me make one point very clear. It was 1947. It was no, Mr. Professor Hari Om. Please don't laugh. You are an authority on the subject. Speak what is relevant. Don't speak which is not relevant. No, one second, Mr. Professor Hari Om. It was 1947.
Yes.
Please understand, it was 1947, and India was reeling under peculiar circumstances.
Like?
Right? It was Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. It was Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru because. I mean, it is him only.
Deepika ji,
Because
just
of
hold
whom?
on.
Because of whom?
I'm not
This-
sure of what
Kashmir
is
with-
so
because-
irrelevant that
Kashmir is-
Professor
Kashmir-
Hari Om talked
Kashmir-
about.
No.
Also,
Kashmir
you're
is
talking
with us.
about 1947. We all
She
know
cannot rebut
what
even
was
a single
happening
point
in
of-
India in
No.
1947.
No.
I'm not sure what any circumstances justified the dilly-dallying of the accession of Jammu and Kashmir to India. But ma'am, please just hold on now. You raised a very important point of proof. Now, the proof that law minister is quoting
No,
in his
this
piece
lady
on
is blissfully
News18.com.
ignorant.
Yes, Professor, I'll give you an opportunity. 2 of my guests have not spoken. Is Jawaharlal Nehru's own speech, July 24, 1952, Nehru conceded the facts.
In the
Like
parliament.
all other princely states, Maharaja Hari Singh wanted to join India. He had approached Indian leadership in July 1947 itself. And these are words this was information that was revealed by Jawaharlal Nehru himself. That he
So what
told
is the
them
statement?
that Kashmir, the advice we gave to both was that Kashmir is a special case and it would not be right or proper to rush things here. Professor Hari Om, very quickly, I'll give you a minute. I have to go to Zafar Islam as well. The proof.
Not only in July, Hari Singh, a number of times, wrote to Prime Minister Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru.
Yes.
No, it is not
accept him after
writing.
accession.
It is not
But he
writing. It is not writing. It is not just saying it. Please quote this statement.
Ma'am, I just quoted his statement. I'm quoting from his recorded speech.
Please
are not made up
tell
facts.
this lady to read Mirchand Mahajan's autobiography. Looking back,
cannot just say it like
he was the Prime Minister of the time.
Nobody is saying it just like that.
This lady knows nothing about J&K.
It is there. It is. Sir, be dignified
Not once.
and be respectful.
He wrote
Be
a number of
respectful.
times
My
to
name is
Nehru
Deepika
that he wanted
Pushkarnath.
J&K
My
to
name
become
is
part of India.
Deepika
But Nehru
Pushkarnath.
would put his
Address me
foot down.
properly. Address me with dignity. Don't say this lady. Address
Okay,
me with
can I
dignity.
just move on from this because this is
My name is
needlessly taking our
Advocate
time.
Deepika
I am more than
Pushkarnath.
happy, Deepika ji, to take factual rebuttals on the issue, but I
Please
don't think
try to
anybody
rebut
has said anything that is not
any of my
factual.
point.
Yes, Hari Om, very quickly. Professor Hari Om.
What I am saying is that people say Nehru delayed accession. No, this is not true. The fact is, but Kirunji said, that is true. That is the fact. Read Mirchand Mahajan, who was the Prime Minister of the time, his autobiography, looking back. And then I would request this gentle lady to then speak on J&K. So I would not say that she knows nothing, but at the same time, I am sorry to say that she is just making a mountain out of molehills. Problem is, the truth is, Congress never considered Jammu and Kashmir as an integral part of India like other states of the country. And Mr. Nehru, he detached J&K from the Home Ministry and attached it with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs as if Jammu and Kashmir was a foreign land.
Okay.
So there are many issues.
Yeah, many issues actually. This is a multi-layered issue. It is not as
simple.
simple as a few things here and there. I want to bring in Syed Zafar
I
Islam
can
here
refer
as
to
well.
50.
So 1 second, can I just bring in my other two guests also? Mr. Islam, you must have heard what the Congress's response today has been. What the Congress's response today on the show is, they're saying that none of this is factual.
Well, Congress has no leg to stand on this issue because the fact is out in open. Everyone knows what exactly had happened at that point in time and what the former Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru had played the role at that point in time. So when the speech has been quoted, when what he has spoken in the Parliament, what he has spoken outside the Parliament, everything is now in the public domain. If somebody says that he has not spoken, then only they are trying to fool themselves, not the people of this great country. And the Honorable Minister, Law Minister, is not, please do not disturb with Deepika ji. Just have the patience to listen. I patiently listened to you. You are
Deepika ji, I'll give you one more opportunity. Just let him finish. Yeah.
I've raised my hand only.
Have patience.
Deepika ji, I'll give you one more opportunity. Yes, Mr. Islam, please finish.
So, all I'm trying to tell you that the Honorable Minister, when he wrote this piece, he didn't say that he's reinventing a wheel or he's trying to convey something which was not known to people. He has put together something which is already in the public domain. And he himself has very clearly stated that it is the fact which is known to people. I have mentioned in my piece, that's all. And the fact is that Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru has purposely delayed the accession of Jammu and Kashmir purely because he had a reason to, he was trying to serve a purpose. A purpose was to that he wanted Sheikh Abdullah to become what he had become at that point in time with the help of Jawaharlal Nehru. Yeah. So
Such
basically he was trying to help
and
prioritize. He was trying to prioritize Sheikh Abdullah, he was trying to please Sheikh Abdullah, but he was ignoring what nation needed at that point in time, and that is something which is a fact.
Along with that allegation, the other allegation that the law minister is also making is that by October 21, 1947, Pakistan had already started invading Jammu and Kashmir, in other words, India. But even till then, it took a full week for India to act, even as there were pleas coming in both from the Indian Army and others, our leadership in Jammu and Kashmir, for the Indian state to intervene. And, you know, eventually, I read out that quote earlier. It was only on October 27 that Nehru said that finally we couldn't say no. Why would even India say no? And then there is the issue of the UN resolution, the internationalizing of this issue. But I want to bring in Majid Hydari here. Majid Hydari, fundamentally what Kiran Rijiju is talking about here is that, you know, there was no special case, there was no provisional issue, there was no special status as under Article 370. All of this came because of several reasons that only Mr. Nehru can explain, because none of this really existed in Jammu and Kashmir and none of this was required at the time of accession. So this whole separatist movement was actually fueled because of these, quote, blunders, as Mr. Rijiju says.
Well, Shivani, firstly, happy Shaurya Divas to everybody. I want to remind Honorable Kiran Rijiju Sahab that we owe our freedom to Jawaharlal Nehru ji. Had there been no Jawaharlal Nehru, there would be no free India, because Lord Mountbatten never negotiated with the likes of Shyama Prasad Mukherjee, who was a Hindu Mahasabha leader. Lord Mountbatten did it with the likes of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru and Nehru only. So that is the contribution of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, and what we are talking about, the Nehruvian blunders, come secondary, which is after India became independent. So once we owe our independence to Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, there is no fun of talking about his any XYZ blunders, quote unquote blunders. Now, coming to today's point, see, today I am really grateful and thankful to my government, the BJP government, and Zafar Bhai also, that they have come out of slumber ahead of Gujarat elections with the pain, feeling the pain of the people of POK and the pain of people of Gilgit-Baltistan, blah, 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 because till 3 days ago, the same BJP government was enjoying India-Pakistan cricket match. That day, Honorable Prime Minister was also appreciating India-Pakistan playing together. But today, Rajnath Singh ji is suddenly feeling pain because we have Gujarat elections. Otherwise, for the last 3 years, our government has never spoken about this entity, which is supposed to be part of our this entire nation.
No, so that's not true. I actually quoted at the start of my show when I talked about Rajnath Singh's statement today that actually Home Minister
Can I
Amit
just
Shah said
respond to that,
virtually
please?
the same thing in Parliament earlier. He was laughed
Yes,
off, he was
exactly,
criticized.
he
But
did.
that's not true what you're saying, that the government has not
Shivani,
made known
that
his
is what I am
intention.
saying. No, that is what I am saying.
Shivani, can I
It has
just come
happened
in,
after
One second,
3
sir.
years. Since August 5, 2019, our worthy government never talked about POK or Gilgit-Baltistan.
So how- what does that have to do with what I'm talking about today?
Silence, I don't know. Zafar Bhai can better explain what
But what does
slumber
that
or
have to do
silence or
about
whatever.
with what I'm talking about today, sir? Today I'm talking about historical perspectives and happenings. Yes,
So I
Mr. Islam,
corrected
respond
you
very
on the
quickly.
historic
I've got Sushil
perspective.
Pandit joining me. I have to go to him. Yes,
No, I
Mr. Islam.
corrected.
Absolutely, you have to go to Sushilji as well. But just briefly, I want to make a statement that it is not for the first time we are saying, and it is not the last time. We will make it happen. We will ensure that the POK, which is part of India, is now. We have to ensure that it becomes part of India. It is still part of India, but it is occupied by Pakistan. The statement which has been made in the Parliament, and the Parliament of India has decided that
Zafar
we
Bhai,
have
why
to
was the
annex
government
the
silent
POK.
since? Why
We
was-
will
No, let's
make
not
it
deviate
happen.
from the
For 3
subject. No, I'm
years now.
sorry, I'm running out of time. I am only
no.
particularly discussing
And it is
issues
nothing to- it is
in
nothing to do with
1947
election
and
and
nothing
all.
else. I'm not discussing present day issues.
Today it was
We
a
have all the
statement
time on
made by
another
the
occasion to do so.
Honorable
And I don't quite
Honorable
appreciate the
Defence
effort to
Minister.
derail the discussion
And
on Nehru's
we will make it happen.
actions by bringing in present day government. I want to go across to Sushil Pandit. Unfortunately, sir, you've joined us late. I only have a couple of minutes left. What do you make of the facts that, or the article that Kiren Rijiju has written? Do you believe it is time that India as a mature nation needs to discuss what transpired in 1947? And do you believe, like Mr. Rijiju is claiming, there's been myths perpetrated over the so-called Kashmir problem?
Absolutely. And I feel today we have a case for trying Jawaharlal Nehru posthumously for high treason and strip him of Bharat Ratna, which he gave to himself. Can you imagine? His government gave Bharat Ratna to him. And he lauded over whitewashing of history and his own blunders. He was the one who said, we don't even need an army. A police is enough. And that is what gave us grief in 1962. His list of blunders is unending. This man deserves to be tried posthumously. And all his, I won't call them errors, they are crimes he committed against the newly independent republic. They are heinous, grievous crimes, including the crime of partitioning India, which cost us 3 million lives. He gave in to the marauders, the jihadis, represented by Muslim League and Jinnah, and vivisected our nation. He owes, his entire legacy owes a huge, a big apology to India.
Okay, I'll leave it at that. Unfortunately, you've joined us late. But I'm leaving it at that. I've run out of time. Well, something tells me this issue is not over, and it should be. As a mature, healthy country, it should be debated more in detail, and I'll look forward to having all of our guests once again on this show as we take this debate forward. I'm moving on to the other